with yet another DJs BrewTube beer review. Well, it's the end of the night, guys. It's time for me to get my malt on. So where am I going to go to get my malt on today? Today we're going to go to Mutt Brewing Company, aka Saranac, out of Utica, New York, US of A. Yay, yay. And what beer are we going to have from these guys so I can get my malt on? We're going to have their Single Malt Scotch Ale. Now, this isn't just any Single Malt Scotch Ale, because I know what you're saying, DJ, that bottle looks different. They have an everyday sort of version of this as well. This isn't that. This is their version from the High Peaks collection. That's right, they're big beers. And barrel-aged beers, that's right. And this particular beer is a barrel-aged Scotch Ale, or wee heavy. This is the first time it's been brewed as of May 2014. It clocks in at 9% ABV and 35 IBUs. Now for hops, they're using, Bravo and Mount Hood in it. And for malts, they're using American two-row and crystal malt. So none of that's like super exceptional. You're saying, DJ, this is supposed to be their better beer. So what's so much better about it? Well, what's so much better about it? This was aged in 100-year-old Scotch whiskey barrels that they brought over from Scotland specifically for this beer. And they're saying on their website that they're probably older than 100 years old, closer to 125 years old. They were originally casks that were used to age sherry. And then, Oh, how do you pronounce that? It's like Tomentoul Distillery in Scotland, and they age their whiskey in these barrels. So I'm wondering what this is going to produce, because most of the beers that I get from Saranac are kind of meh. I haven't had anything from the High Peaks collection yet, but I'm going to do so tonight. So I'm done flapping my gums. Let's get the top popped on this bad boy, get it in the snifter, and tell you what's up with the Single Malt Scotch Ale. Boom, big ass hiss. Wow, tons of smoke coming off the top of that. We've got our lovely collectible Saranac crown that says since 1888, family owned. That's pretty freaking cool. So, let's get this bad boy in the glass and see if it lives up to all that smoke and everything that was coming out the top of it. Nice looking beer. Yeah, baby. I'm ready for some malt. Yeah. And I think Wee Heavy will take care of that need for malt now, won't it? Yes. Okay, it's a gorgeous, clear, maybe only slightly hazy, amber red color, amber orange, kind of like a deep copper. We got a solid one finger head of pretty tight khaki off-white bubbles, little soap sudsy at the top when I swirl it. Instant glass lacing clinging to the glass and tons of alcohol legs. Look at that beer, guys. That's a nice looking Wee Heavy. That's basically what they should look like, you know. I'm wondering how this is going to compare to other barrel-aged Wee Heavies. You know I'm loving some Walver, and I'm also loving some Backwoods Bastard. So let's see how this, kind of like evens up or kind of matches up with those. Now this is out of Scotch barrels and not bourbon. So let's see what it brings to the kind of table in the aroma department. Dive in. Nice malt up at the front, like biscuity malt, caramel, toffee, scotch in the background. Kind of malty, sort of little bit slightly smoky scotch. Nice smelling beer. Oaky, bit of vanilla. Hops really aren't present. It's all about the malt, all about caramel, toffee, scotch, vanilla, tannic oak notes, and like that sort of like biscuity malt aroma. And that's all about I'm getting right now. I'm going to dive into this bad boy and see what's up in the taste department. Cheers, or I guess since this is a Wee Heavy, so long va. That's an interesting brew. I think I need to let it warm up a little bit more, but I'll tell you what I'm getting right now while it's a little chilly. First thing I get up front is I get a nice vanilla flavor, then toffee and caramel. Super smooth, no alcohol taste. There was no alcohol in the aroma. Nice caramel aftertaste with a bit of scotch and a bit of like vanilla oak in the background. Yum. Really tasty first impression. I'm going to let this warm up. This is a Wee Heavy after all. This is a kickback kind of beer, and I'll be back with some further assessments while I sip on this and it warms. We'll be back in a flash. Okay guys, I'm back. I've been working this beer down for the better part of a half hour, and it's a really enjoyable beer to drink in a lot of ways. It's highly quaffable, the carbonation's spot on, it's got a nice medium mouthfeel. As it warms up, the flavors intensify. but there's not a whole lot of complexity of flavor there overall compared to some Scotch ales that I've had, or wee heavies, whatever you want to call them. The 9% is totally hidden, which is really cool. The only thing you get is a very, very mild warming in the chest, even as the beer's warmed up to, I'd say about like 52, 53 degrees right now. There's a nice, very light Scotch flavor in the background, like Scotch whiskey flavor in the background, that's complemented with vanilla. It's got a nice dry finish. It brings you back to drink for more, but the flavors seem to have not all come together yet in this beer, and I can tell kind of drinking it, like if it would age a little bit, there'd be some dark fruits and maybe some more rich textures and flavors in there to enjoy as you would drink it. Because like I say, the mouthfeel is very nice on this beer, and the aroma has picked up. You can tell that a quality barrel was used to age this, but I wonder if it was aged long enough, if it could have had more time in the barrel. But right now, as it stands, this reminds me of sort of a big version of, like a more developed version of the Tennant's Scotch beer, Scotch whiskey, was it whiskey beer, I think it was called, that I reviewed. This is like a bigger version of that, or like maybe like a bigger version of an Innocent Gun in some ways, because there is more whiskey flavor, there's more overall body and character to the beer, but it's still, compared to its counterparts like Backwoods Bastard and Wolver, it's falling off in that area. It just doesn't hit that upper echelon of the beers right now. And I'm wondering, and I've got a 4-pack here, which was really affordable by the way. This was $7.99, which is super cheap for a 9% barrel aged beer. I'm interested to see how these will develop over time, and if some dark fruits and different characteristics from the yeast will come out. So, enough flapping my gums on this. What do we grade a beer like this? Great beer right now doesn't have a grade on this, but it looked like to be like about an 82 to 83 by the reviews that I read. Beer Advocate gives it an 85, which is a B+. And I think, I'm going to land it at B+ also. I'm going to give it an 88 or 8, I think an 89 actually. Almost an A-, but a B+, because it's lack of complexity and it's sort of single note as Scotch ales go. It's got nice malt sweetness and caramel and stuff, but it just doesn't have that big flavor that you would expect out of a beer that's of this ABV and has been put in such lauded barrels that are over 100 years old and aged to fine whiskey in them. So that's my opinion. Have you drank this beer? Can you tell me what you think? Because that would be awesome. I like to hear what you think too. I love the quid pro quo and the back and forth. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's awesome because that's what we're here to have a little conversation about beer. Now, aren't we? And I also love it when you think locally, drink locally, and support the craft beer movement. This is all that wrapped up in one. This is whiskey aged in whiskey barrels from Scotland, and it's supporting a guy that's up in New York, which isn't too far from Maryland here. Now, is it? So we're supporting the craft beer movement and the global drinking movement because we like to drink. Now, don't we? That's why we're watching a freaking beer review. Hell yes. So, to the next DJs BrewTube, thanks again to each and every one of you for watching. Remember, rate, comment, subscribe, and hit that like button so I can put my happy face on. Until then, I got nothing but a bunch of love for you and a big ass, that's right, a peace out.